Time now for your forewarned weather.
Welcome on back, everybody. Let's talk a little bit of weather. This is a live view outside Bryce Canyon City. You notice the southern mountains do still have rain holding on, fairly soggy conditions there, pretty gloomy end to the work week. Black Desert Sky Cam down in Washington County also shows moisture still present, but we are finally starting to see some cracks in the clouds, a little bit of blue peeking between there. Temperatures right now are pretty warm up here in the north. Most of us are in the 70s and 80s across the state. We're at 81 degrees here in Salt Lake, Cache Valley at 80 degrees as well. 62 in Cedar City and St. George, also in the 60s. That doesn't happen very often. That's because of that cloud coverage and the rain. When we do see that rain, it pulls down the cooler air from the clouds aloft down towards the surface. Now, we do still have moisture out there. The Uintas still looking at a few showers. That's been the case for the past couple of hours. Nothing too significant, just a couple of sprinkles. There is a little cell just south of Evanston right there with some moderate precipitation, but it's not looking like it has very much energy, so I don't think it's going to blow up from there. The southeast portion of the state does have a couple showers as well. We do have a shower over some mountains in San Juan County that has been a little bit stationary, but Blanding and Monticello, the more populated areas, haven't been dealing too much. And then the southern mountains do have some wet weather. That little cell that you see just south of Penguich, that's what we saw on our camera in Bryce Canyon City. Southwestern Utah does still have some echoes of moisture, but this is moving out of the region, so we should be mostly dry for our football there tonight. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We do have that flash flood warning in effect for a little bit longer. That expires at 6 p.m. This is for Zion National Park, particularly the Narrows and the canyons. Now, there is no precipitation there right now, but we can still get flash flooding as it does take a little bit of time for all that rain to get funneled into the canyons and dry washes. So still keep your eyes to the skies and stay to the higher areas. And it's no surprise, we do have the potential for flash flooding in most of our outdoor recreation areas today. But as we get into tomorrow, that flash flood potential increases and expands to every single one of our outdoor recreation areas. So if you do have plans to go to any state or national parks, it would be best to reschedule. If you must, the further east and the further north you go, the drier it's going to be, but it's still looking like we have wet weather in the forecast. You see, it does clear a little bit overnight, but that moisture starts to push back in through south central Utah as we get into the morning, and it doesn't go anywhere just yet. It sticks around and eventually pushes up into the central portion of the state, Nephi, the I-70 corridor, and the West Desert, Joab, Millard counties down into Beaver. Could see some wet weather as well. There's actually a decent chance of that. And then as we get into your Sunday, that moisture still is in southern and central Utah, but we have that southerly wind, and it's going to push it up into the north as we get into Sunday afternoon and evening. Our upper level futurecast takes us a little bit further. There's that high pressure in place, which is why we have the pleasant conditions up in the north. That high pressure is also keeping that low pressure to the south of us, acting as a storm block. So that stormy weather is sticking in southern Utah for now, but that low pressure will finally be allowed to lift as we get into your Sunday, which is why we see those stormy conditions in the north. As we get into Monday, it starts to exit the state, so that wet weather potential dips just a little bit, but we do still have moisture thanks to this system coming in from the Pacific Northwest, bringing that cooler, soggier northwest air into the region as we kick off next week and into the middle of the week. But then high pressure starts to build on your Wednesday and Thursday, so it should start to clear it on out. Regional forecast shows that tomorrow we're going to be in the 80s in northern Utah, 70s in southern Utah, 83 degrees in St. George. Southern Utah is going to have much more active weather than we have here in the north. Scattered thunderstorms are expected in southern Utah over the weekend, with temperatures dropping to 80 degrees on your Sunday, warming back up to the low 80s for the first half of the work week and the mid 80s on your Thursday and Friday. There's a slight chance of some wet weather on Monday and Tuesday. Moisture will definitely still be present. It's just a matter of if it reaches the ground. The Wasatch Front has isolated thunderstorms on your Sunday, with temperatures dropping into the 70s to close out the weekend. The 70s stick around all the way through this time next week, with isolated thunderstorms and showers expected all the way through Tuesday, possibly Wednesday, but then it dries out.
Okay.